Hello all my beautiful little unicorns and welcome back to my channel. Guys, if this is the first time that you're on my channel, please allow for me to introduce myself to you. My name is Vanessa Somuayina and I'm the author and creator of various tarot and oracle decks. To date, I have published nearly 600 tarot videos here on YouTube, and you guys also know me as the unicorn mom or your big sis from the internet. My beautiful babies of the zodiac, I hope that you're ready for today's video because today is going to be very up close and personal. We're just going to be chatting like two old squirrel friends. Today's tarot video contains an important message that you need to hear. And in order to channel these divine messages for you, I'm going to be using tarot and oracle cards as well as other divination tools in order for us to figure out precisely what you need to know. And I've also got 3 groups prepared for you that I will introduce you to in just a moment's time. So how this video works is that once I introduce you to the 3 groups, you just take a little moment of privacy in this safe space on the internet, meditate on the 3 groups and pick whichever one that you naturally and intuitively feel the most drawn towards in order to receive your reading. And then when you've picked the group of your choice, you can find the timestamps below in the description box, but also pinned to the top of the comment section. So all you need to do is click your timestamp and then you'll be fast forwarded to the relevant portion of this video where I will get into your psychic tarot reading. And furthermore, before I get into your predictions, due to popular demand, I will be extending the free divine guidance tarot and oracle board promotion on bowlife.com. So what that means is that any one of your orders that you place with my online store with an order value above angel number 111, so $111, receives a completely free divine guidance tarot and oracle board that I have developed in order to help you create a 10-card spread reading for yourself, a friend, or even someone that you're doing this for professionally. With each one of the boards, you also receive a free crystal pendulum. Simply leave an order note if you would like to pick the color of your board and your crystal pendulum. And if you don't leave an order note, but your order is still above $111, I personally will intuitively add a divine guidance tarot and oracle board as well as a crystal pendulum to your order that I intuitively feel is for you. All of the info about this promo can be found below in the description box. So I will now display the 3 groups that I've got prepared for you. As mentioned, please pick whichever group and symbols that you feel the most naturally drawn towards. Don't overthink it. If you absolutely cannot make up your mind, look around the room that you're in, check your clock, check the numbers of emails that you've got in your inbox, for example, and allow those numbers to guide you. If it is, for example, 3:33 p.m. wherever you are right now while you're watching this video, if you, for example, know that you still need to call 2 people or do 2 tasks today, then know that even feeling drawn to these thoughts, even thinking about these numbers, is a hunch. It is a push from your guides, from spirit, that is the right number for you to pick. But as already mentioned, go with whichever group that you feel drawn towards. So I will now provide you with a moment of privacy with the 3 groups. Feel free to pause the video right here, and then I'll get straight into your readings, starting off with symbol 1, and to all of my other gorgeous symbols, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello, symbol 1, and welcome to your reading. How are you doing today, symbol 1? Because one thing that I'm hearing from spirit is that this important message is going to be life-changing for you. What we're going to uncover in today's reading is definitely going to give you newfound inspiration as well as self-confidence for the weeks and months that lay ahead. So I've got my decks laid out in front of me. I'll be shuffling and and pulling the cards intuitively. So let's get into it, shall we? I want to figure out precisely what message that you must hear that Spirit has for you, group number 1. So we've got unity. Group number 1, one thing about unity is the fact that your bonds are getting stronger. A message that you need to hear is that no matter how tough some relationships have been in your life, don't give up now, especially if it's a relationship with a parent or a challenging romantic relationship or even marriage that you've been in. I want you to know here within unity that you will come back together into a very close relationship with this person. There is reconciliation that lies ahead for you, and this is an important message for you to hear, so you don't give up before the reconciliation comes. The forgiveness will be here for you to say to yourself, you know, I'm not letting someone off the hook for what they did, but I'm freeing myself by giving myself the gift of forgiving this person and not further holding on to grudges. And if I look over here, group number 1, just know I'm looking in my viewfinder to make sure that everything is in focus. So nothing is all blurry and you can see everything crystal clear. Next up, we've got altruism for you. Now, group number 1, within altruism, I just want you to know that you're taking on a different kind of lifestyle. And the important message with altruism and unity is that you're simplifying your life. What comes next is a lot of simplification for you. That means leading a more minimalistic lifestyle. That means actually decluttering a lot of things that you don't need, and also maybe watching a lot of minimalism, decluttering, and clean with me videos here on YouTube, just to inspire you, give you ideas of how you can reorganize your life, your home, all of the things that you can possess, that you do possess, and you can still possess. That's why I just intuitively said the things that you can possess, because there are things coming into your life that are valuable. So valuable items in the sense of valuable jewelry, valuable bags, clothes, just like little things that are worth a lot, if you know what I mean. So with little things, I mean not just homes and cars, but items you can hold, that you can carry. And it is very important that you clear up the space of clutter and you learn before you receive all of these items that are coming towards you how to deal with what you have without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling like there's constant disorganization, say on your desk, in your room, in your closet, your bathrooms. I definitely want you to know that while you are going to receive a lot of material things in the near future that you didn't expect, it doesn't really matter to you. So group number 1, you are kind of moving in this direction where the less you care about stuff, the more stuff somehow comes to you. And it's just this law of nonchalance where if you don't care too much about things, somehow it's easier to attain them, right? It's all about the law of manifestation, where when you let go of something, that's when it can come to you, because you're not giving off this energy and this air of desperation, but you're actually giving off an air of the fact that you are worthy, but you're also happy with how things are right now. You're not going to push for anything. You're not going to force anything. And when you're not forcing, that's when things come towards you that you never expected to happen so quickly, so swiftly, and effortlessly as well. But within altruism, it's also just clear that you don't want to lead a lifestyle that is super flashy or obnoxious. You have been there, done that in your own way, but moving forward, just what is important to you is just changing so much. Like, your core values are not what they used to be a few years ago. They've just come so far. You've developed your self-worth in a sense that you've completely detached it from feeling like your self-worth has anything to do with stuff that you own or just things in general. So group number 1, I keep hearing this peer pressure. So Spirit wants to say something about you being under peer pressure and therefore succumbing to this feeling of just wanting to fit in and trying to do whatever you can so you could fit in, so you could not face bullying or harassment or put downs or just standing out as different, because sometimes the only way to be safe is to not stand out. And I know it sounds so counterintuitive, group number one, because everyone always preaches to be yourself and to stand out and shine. And there are so many moments and there's so much about that that is right. But why do we never talk about how blending in is safety? Blending in is also just peace of mind, because when you stand out and you let yourself shine, you also need the strength to go up against people who will say nasty things about you, who will be mean towards you, who will point their finger at you because you stand out, because you're an easy target. And for that, you need a thick skin. Some days are like this, some days are like that. Some days your skin may be thick enough to take it, but maybe some days you just want to blend in. You don't want to be the peacock that spreads its feathers and shows off and shines. Some days you just want to be invisible, and that's fine too. So don't feel as though there's anything wrong with that or you're betraying yourself. Of course, you are you, but you're also many versions of you. For example, some days when you're hanging out with friends and family, you know you're a completely different person than when you, for example, are with work colleagues or your boss, right? You're completely different with a teacher than you are with your friends. That's why they're a figure of authority, and the friends that you had maybe in school or you currently have are your peers, your friends. So do know here that you can be yourself and be authentic, while at the same time also have some days where you just want to be simple and tone it down, and just have phases where you don't want to bother with standing out. And that's a message you have to hear, that it's fine. We get exhausted in this day and age from people commenting on our decisions, on our lifestyle, on our looks, on everything, especially if you're female. You know what it feels like to, in a sense, never be able to win. And I feel like that just intensifies with motherhood. That's one thing that I keep hearing, just fear of motherhood, fear of being crucified, continued just energies trying to penetrate. And I keep having this pressure here in my finger, like a needle that's wanting to go in. And from Spirit, that's just a sign of penetration, of another opinion, something foreign wanting to come into your space. And we've got the compassion card, group number one. And I just want you to know that all of this means that it will feel like you're constantly fending off others' opinions, others' wants, needs, feelings, and just overall how they feel about your situation. And when you allow for that to come into your space and your circle and to penetrate your kind of boundaries, I just want you to know that it is an endless cycle of trying and it never being good enough for anyone. Just think of, for example, moms these days, when they go to work, it's like, oh, you're working so much. How do you even have time for your kids? And it's kind of like a bit of it's a backhanded compliment. It's like, oh, you're so busy. How do you even find time? You're still doing it. But I'm saying this in a way that also shows that what you're doing is kind of not enough, or you might be at work too much and your family may need and miss you, but you're choosing to be elsewhere. You know what I mean? You get the vibe, group number one. But then if someone's a stay-at-home mom, then it's like, oh, she's just at home. She doesn't have a career. What happens if her partner leaves her? It's like when you snap back immediately after having a child for whatever reason. Maybe you worked out, maybe you're just stressed, maybe taking care of a child is what is causing you to snap back because you are so busy in this new role. And then people say you're vain or it's unrealistic. And when you choose to just focus on this new cycle in your life, and you don't think about snapping back or how you look, then it's, oh, you let yourself go. There's just always something. And that's why compassion has showed up, because an important thing you need to hear is to just have compassion with yourself. First of all, when you're doing the best that you can, when you are performing in a way that is your max. That is amazing, group number one. And really, anyone who is giving you backhanded compliments or trying to shame you, also have compassion for them, because clearly they don't understand what kind of impact that may have. Clearly, there is maybe something going on with them that makes them want to point out what they see as a deficiency in you. And often the things that we see as deficiencies in other people are like secretly the things that we feel deficient of. Or like if someone is wearing very revealing clothes or putting themselves out there, you may have found yourself thinking, oh, that person, oh, they just want attention, they just want this, they just want that. But have you ever thought that maybe it also makes you a little uncomfortable in a way that someone is putting themselves out there so much because you know that you would like to actually wear that dress, wear that outrageous outfit, dye your hair pink, wear like very neon colored makeup every now and then, but maybe you chose not to because you didn't want to stand out so much. And when you see someone who stands out in a way that is very loud, very unapologetic, sometimes it can kind of trigger our own insecurity where we think, oh, they want attention. Meanwhile, in a way, sometimes we wish we would have had the confidence to do that ourselves. And this is why I'm the big sis from the internet, group number one. The honesty is so important to me, that we can have these conversations. We can be honest with one another. We can admit when maybe we've made a decision where we've judged another person. It's normal. We're all human. And just using tarot and divination is such a sweet way to uncover truths we need to hear and areas in which improvement could greatly benefit our own well-being, not just everyone around us, but can greatly benefit ourselves. Next up, we've got the new chapter. I mean, did we not just speak about this? Group number one, did we not just talk about a new chapter and a new cycle, a new era, a new time in your life? So with this new chapter, I also want you to know that what will come is you writing your story in a way that you're leaving a legacy you're happy with, because in the past you may have felt like you're actually writing a story for someone else, like a parent, your community. You're not being 100% authentic with the legacy you would like to leave. So your new chapter calls for you to become the author of it, group number one. And I definitely want you to understand here that part of what you need to hear is that with a new chapter also come new beliefs. And when you've got a new value system or a new set of beliefs, like for example, a more minimalistic belief, a belief of being more environmentally conscious, friendly, and maybe you've also decided you're not going to gossip with anybody about anything anymore. Either you're going to speak about positive topics or you're just not going to have conversations at all. And people will say that you've changed, group number one. That is a message that keeps coming through. Just the profound change will come with some goodbyes, not in bad blood, but more because you're realizing that some people just don't get that that is the point. The point is change. The point is to evolve. The point is to grow. So I'm just going to get out my charms, group number one, in case you're wondering what I'm doing. So here is, by the way, all the orders come with these gorgeous Bow Life pouches that you can reuse. They're all like made of this high quality velvet material. I just store my charms in this pouch because they just come in handy so much with jewelry and tarot decks and divination tools. So know that there will definitely be some judgment to a degree. So we've got a key as well as a tree of life. So this is, I wonder how we're going to do this now. Oh, okay, there we go. Our 4K camera is really doing the thing, group number one. I mean, look at this. crystal clear here that we've got this key charm. So I want you to know that you are unlocking a new version of yourself. It's like, you know, when you're playing a video game, like a Super Mario game, for example, and you unlock the next character. I loved playing Pokemon. If you're one of those individuals, you know, you had to unlock the different arenas as you went on, like the fire arena, the water arena, and so on. You had to unlock the next stages before you could actually get to the big, like, Champions League. I'm not sure if that's actually what it's called, but you know what I'm trying to say. So I want you to know here that you're given the key to open the next chapter, to open the next stage of your life. And here within this tree, or shall I even call it a tree of life? There we go. Okay, so here we've got this gorgeous tree charm. I'm gonna try to, wow, okay. So it's the first time I'm doing this, you guys. Technical things are not my forte, but here's the tree charm. I would like you to know here with the tree charm that what you're also unlocking is just a new upgraded version of your family. The tree of life also represents family. It represents stability in that area of your life, and maybe even unlocking the next chapter in the sense of broadening your family. Okay, that could mean extra kids, extra pets, just overall bringing more life into your sacred space, creating a home that is filled with just overall laughter, talking, unlocking a new chapter that is going to bring you more peace of mind, that's going to bring you this sense of this is really what life is about. If you've ever been in a moment or a situation with someone where you're deeply in love, or for example, you're just really enamored by the work that you're doing, you're enjoying it a lot, you may have thought to yourself before, like, this is what life is all about, like these moments of just enjoying. And that's what you're unlocking in your next stage. And here we've got the King of Blades. You're also unlocking this new character. The King of Blades is the king of air signs, basically, because the suit of blades corresponds to the element of air. I would like you to know here that the King of Blades represents an individual that is older than you. They are more experienced than you are, group number one. They most likely do have a few years on you, and I'm going to roll my die so that we can figure out precisely how many years. Okay, so they have got 4 years on you, group number one, 4 years older than you. So 4 years of more experience, but they're just overall a very, very mature person. Now, the King of Blades, this may be a business owner or just overall someone who is in a managerial type of rank when it comes to their work. Let me tell you why. The King represents someone who has authority and someone who is looked up to by others. And the suit of blades is the suit of the mental realm of communication and education as well. So this is a very well-educated individual that is part of the new chapter of your life, the next chapter of your life, the family building chapter, the chapter of new beginnings, of forgivings, and also of reminding yourself that things are nice and beautiful and you will attain everything that you want and more. You will attain all of the memorabilia that you crave, all of the tarot and oracle decks, the handbags, the shoes, the jewelry, the rare crystals and minerals. You will have them, but first you kind of need to hit, not a rock bottom, but you have to hit a point of minimum, of minimalism, of knowing precisely what you need and just being thankful and grateful for everything extra that comes into your life. And then that's when the extraness will flow in. And I want you to know here within the King of Blades that this is someone who has air sign energy, meaning Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini energy. Those are the 3 air signs of the zodiac. And these are said to be very communicative, geez, I can't talk today, very talkative, as well as fun. They're great storytellers. So this is someone with whom you will have very intelligent conversations with. They're mentally the most stimulating person you have ever met, and they inspire you day by day to be better, to be smarter, to read, to educate yourself. and overall, just to become a version of yourself that you're proud of. So furthermore, group number 1, the King of Blades is someone who may be a lawyer, for example, a teacher, someone who has high academic status, who has gone to school for quite a while, and has also further educated themselves by being very book smart in the sense of like reading books out of their own motivation. So not just what they had to read for their studies, but actually going out there, taking courses, reading extra books, and just overall a lot of extracurricular activities. So they come from a rather affluent background. They did not have to struggle or suffer to have the opportunity to, for example, go to piano classes, to be able to go to soccer trainings and so on. They were always able to access this world and this type of life. And that has also given them the time and the luxury to be able to focus on studies and to come so far. So they're definitely someone who has been privileged in many ways. However, they have remained humble. One thing that I keep hearing is a family with somebody very humble, a very humble, stable home life, and a decision to remain that way, not because you don't have nice things or flashy things, but because you know you have those things and you know your worth. You don't need to show it off. It's not part of who you show up as when you enter a room. You are clean, you're put together, but you don't need to have big logos, for example, plastered across your body, because overall you're just in a space where you know what you want out of life and you've got nothing to prove. Next, we've got the Five of Blades. An important message for you to hear within the Five of Blades is to get ready for some news around you about something that has been on your mind for a long time, and it will finally now come to that kind of breaking point where the straw breaks the camel's back. You may have been thinking for a very long time that it's kind of been a while since you've heard from a friend. Maybe they broke up with their partner, maybe they're actually not good, maybe they've relapsed. There's also a kind of fear of failure here within the Five of Blades, where you've put so much pressure on yourself and you're such a perfectionist that in the end you're starting to understand it's a lose-lose situation. So the Five of Blades shows that something you've been thinking about, overthinking, is actually going to come to the point where you realize, okay, I've been overthinking. I put so much unnecessary pressure on myself. Now it's actually happened. It's transpired. There's nothing I can do. I might as well just make the best of the situation and remind myself that, okay, difficult and challenging moments come, and you will experience them as just as challenging if you just experience that moment when it's happening, compared to overthinking what could be the worst case scenario, overthinking about other people, their relationships, their financial standpoint, their health. While you're overthinking and it's not actually transpiring, you're just wasting time. Wait for challenging times to transpire, experience them fully, even if they bring you to the end, and then move on, okay? Don't use times of not knowing to just overthink your worries, and then you actually draw them into your life, group number 1. That is the tricky thing, and that is another thing to be said about manifestation. In my opinion, manifestation is something that shouldn't be just thrown around so lightly, because if you do it in a wrong way, okay, you will actually manifest your biggest fears and the things that you absolutely did not want to manifest. So it is super important that you first get control of your mind, you first get control over your emotions, at least to a degree, before you get into some heavy manifestation or spell work, especially spell work. Oh gosh, yeah. That's like a video for another day. If you guys want things more about like spells and things like that, more kind of magical things, let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear from you, and also the things that you would like. And maybe I'll just post it on my Patreon as well if I see that like on Patreon the interest is really lighting up for sharing spells, doing spells together, and just like magical practices like that that are guided, so you know you're doing it right, and so you know that you're actually attracting what you want. So next up, we've got beauty ritual. I see here that vanity is next in the next chapter of your life, in the sense of it being pretty important. You will go through some changes. Think, for example, dyeing your hair, maybe even some surgical procedures, or procedures that are not surgical, but what are those called again? The non-surgical, just non-surgical procedures. Also getting your nails done, making sure that your skin looks and feels how you want it to. For example, I am at a point in my life where I am empowered for my body hair to be how I want it to be, not how society deems as beautiful. So, for example, I personally, this may be TMI, I don't like armpit hair because I'm the type of person, when I am nervous, I sweat. Okay, hyperhidrosis is a real thing, and I do not want long armpit hair for that reason. It makes me uncomfortable. I also don't like how it feels. So I choose to remove my armpit hair either by waxing, epilating, or shaving. That is my choice, my autonomous choice over my body, not because somebody told me to. But for example, when it comes to my leg hair, I could not care less. So if I would like to let it grow out for a little bit until I feel okay, now it's a little long, it's disturbing me, that is what I'm going to do. And that's what I can see here, an autonomy that you are creating over your body, where you are not grooming yourself for society standards. So for example, if you've only been waxing just because you've been told, for example, women should wax or men should wax in this area, or whatever the standard of beauty is that you have been conditioned by, and it's so painful to go through these things just because of conditioning. You're like reaching a point where you're thinking to yourself, why should I go through this pain again? Like, for who? Why? Like, if I don't want to, why should I suffer just to fit in to these beauty standards that were created for companies to make money and to have more control over us and our time? I mean, imagine how much more time we would have if we wouldn't spend our mornings or our days doing certain things that are just not necessary, that are not even for us, but for others, for work. I mean, how many people wake up in the morning, and I'm not talking about like brushing your teeth and normal hygiene that you should be doing for your health. I'm talking about, for example, doing your hair a certain way or putting on makeup. How much more time people would have, because so many of us, we put on makeup, we straighten, comb, press, do things to our hair just to fit in a workplace. But for us, like, we don't need that. We're not doing that for us. We're doing that for others. Imagine the society we've created where you would really sacrifice sleep every day just to fit in, because that is kind of what's expected. Because once again, you can't win. You show up and you're not wearing makeup and people ask you if you're okay, if you're not feeling well, if you're ill. You don't do your hair, and all of a sudden, you know, people are making comments, and you know that it's just clear they want you to fit into the kind of Caucasian look. Or, I mean, nowadays there are two sides of the spectrum, not to make this too much about all of these racial debates, but there's people who want to look very ethnic, very mixed, or whatever you'd like to call it. Then there's, of course, a lot of jobs where you are meant to fit into this kind of more Western look. And it is just, you cannot win. Okay, you cannot win, so you might as well just don't even waste your time if it's not necessary. But it is also to be said, group number one, that sometimes you can suffer a rebuttal. How do I say this? You can suffer damages and losses if you don't fit in certain ways. So ask yourself, where is it necessary for me to fit in? And where can I maybe just pipe it down and spare myself the time and the pain? And this is what we spoke about more at the beginning of your video. Sometimes fitting in is important because if you don't do it, someone else will. They'll get ahead, they'll get the promotion, they'll get the paycheck, and you will not. But we've got to be smart about it, and then when we get to the position of power, then we are the ones initiating change so that we can see more diversity, people being themselves more, because now we're in a position of power to dictate that. But when we're not in a position of power to do that, sometimes conforming and fitting in is actually the best strategy to achieve anything, because we need open-minded people to climb certain ladders, to be in certain boardrooms and meetings, in order for there to actually be change on a big level, on a global scale. So let's be smart. Let's work hard, but also smart. Group number one, that is the main message. And also remind yourself that sometimes fitting in it can feel like you're betraying yourself, but remind yourself that there's delayed gratification and it can be for a greater cause in the end, okay? Remind yourself of that. It's like when I was going to school and I had this one teacher was so mean, okay? It was this English teacher, and he was saying things to me like he thinks I'm suicidal. If he was my parent, he would be worried for me. He agreed because I obviously am a native English speaker and I went to school in Switzerland, so I was allowed to bring books to read during class, but then I actually brought the books and read them, and then I got really bad grades for not attending, being attentive during the lessons. So he just always set me up for failure. It's so bizarre thinking about it, how an old man could do that to a young woman who was literally just trying to do well in school. But anyways, long story short, I just did whatever I could to try to keep the situation on the low and appease so I could pass the class and then do what I wanted to do, right? Pass school so that I can then have the career that I want, and I can actually be in positions where I am employing people and treating them well, where I am actually teaching people and not putting some people selectively down. But I have to go to school for that, and sometimes you just got to play the game, right? As tough as it is. And I think to myself now, I have written books, oracle decks, tarot decks, created them from scratch, published them myself with tens of thousands of people all across the world who have purchased them, who have read them. And this man really had the nerve to try to make me feel like I couldn't speak English, like I couldn't write English, was giving me worse grades than people who did not speak any English until they stepped foot in the school and learned everything in the school. Not to say that they didn't put effort, but it's a clear difference between someone who's been speaking English their whole life and reading English books, right? So that's just to kind of show you how you got to play the game. You'll get to where you need to go, and then you'll just smile, laugh, be happy you forgave the haters, and think to yourself, success is really the best revenge. And you won't even see it as revenge because it's not. You've just done what's best for you. You've just literally won, group number one. That's the most amazing closing to a reading ever. You've just won, group number one. If you take one thing from this reading, let it be that saying, you've just won. So leave a little winners emoji, a trophy emoji below in the comment section if you made it all the way to the end of this reading, because that way I know you're a real one, you're here, you were with me the whole time, and that you enjoyed it. Also, if you're completely new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. I probably should say these things at the start of the video, but you guys know I just love making videos so much I forget about all of this stuff. But yeah, please subscribe to my channel. That would greatly help the algorithm push my videos and my channel so we can continue to just thrive in this safe space and healing space on the internet with each other. So group one, thank you so much for being here and for spending this divine time and space with me. Know that I'm sending you so much love all the way from Zurich, Switzerland, and I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming readings. Hello, all of my beautiful souls of group number 2. Welcome to your reading about the message that you need to hear. So instantly, one thing that I'm getting is the number 111. If you keep seeing angel number 111, group number 2, after you have received your reading, don't be surprised because 111 is guiding you in the right direction. That is an angel number of initiation and of taking action. So don't be afraid to quit the procrastination, because often things we're procrastinating are made up to be a lot bigger in our heads than they are in reality. So I've got my decks laid out in front of me, just FYI, and my viewfinder over here. And for you, group number 2, I just felt compelled for you to have some purple light. So I hope that you like it. I hope that you find it somehow comforting, mystical, and enjoyable to look at. So let's get into your reading. First up, we have wisdom for you. Now, group number 2, within wisdom, I see that a message you are meant to hear is to not underestimate what you can accomplish by learning, potentially even going back to school, taking some courses and classes, and also don't underestimate how smart that you are. So what comes next for you actually in your professional life especially is to get some extra credentials to learn a little bit more about your craft that will make that difference between you and coworkers and people around you. Become the expert in your field. Have some skills that are unique to you that people won't be able to copy so easily or so quickly. And one thing about wisdom, there's also this secretive part of the card. There's this part of having this subtle elegance of working your butt off, but not actually saying how hard that you've worked, keeping that detail to yourself. And that will actually kind of also avoid that people think, oh, you're like saying you've worked so hard, you're kind of like complaining, or you're kind of just trying to put yourself on a pedestal. Keep the hard work to yourself. Work towards gaining the additional wisdom to set yourself apart from the competition, and then just watch as you leave everyone in your trail of dust and you take huge leaps forward professionally, privately, and financially. That's one message that you are meant to hear. Within wisdom, we also have a kind of angel that's depicted. So gaining wisdom, not because you're looking to gain power, but because you know that your intentions are pure and your intentions are necessary in the field of work that you're in. For example, it was necessary at one point for someone to say, hey, I want to study law because I want to become an environmental lawyer, because someone needs to protect the environment or animals. Someone needs to protect those who can't protect themselves. And that's precisely the vibe we're getting here with wisdom for you. When you climb up the ladder, or actually even I'm getting the sense that you might be a business owner already, you need to be put in positions and have doors opened for you so you can create a brighter future for others. It's not coming from a place of trying to gain control, but more of understanding that your voice is so needed, especially if you feel like you come from a marginalized group of society, whether that's growing up poor or coming from a certain ethnic background that can sometimes definitely make life more difficult. Regardless of how some may try to downplay your struggles, they're valid. Group number 2, never forget that and never allow for anyone to make you feel like they're not. Next up, we've got nurture, and somehow my throat chakra. Take care of your throat, group number 2. If you have been having a sore throat or just overall very dry mouth, very dry throat, know that it's time for you to nurture it. One thing that's very good is for you to have like cold things, popsicles, certain teas as well are very good for your throat. And I want you to know here, in nurture, we have this little bubble with a tree. So I definitely see that when it comes to nurturing, you're also interested in what you can do for the planet. And we just spoke about that here within wisdom. So learning how to live more sustainably. I see that that's a message you're meant to hear as a confirmation. So you were maybe just in a store and bought something that you feel was more sustainable. Maybe you bring your own grocery bags. Also watching videos that inspire you to just keep a clean and very organized household so you're not wasteful. That's how I see that you are nurturing, creating a small footprint, or one that is as small as possible. And within nurture, of course, we also have a message of the possibility of nurturing another life. Now, nurturing another life is something that we need to take seriously, because that is a symbol of pregnancy. It's a symbol of another life being around you. And here within wisdom, it becomes clear that either getting actual child vibes or niece, nephew kind of vibes here, where you are teaching someone younger a lot of the wisdom that you've gained over the years, and you're also nurturing their skills and their talents. And this intensifies depending on what you were through as a kid, and if there is trauma attached to your nurturing, or shall I say lack thereof, group number 2. If as a kid your hobbies and your growth wasn't nurtured as much as you really feel like it could have been or should have been or you would have liked, then you will be even more protective about nurturing and caring of the young individuals around you, and the absolute most protective about doing so for your own children, should there be children in your life, right? And I want you to also know here that you are a natural born teacher. So any profession in which you are teaching others something, that's where you belong, because you don't have this sense of grandiosity, group number 2. You're actually someone who is very humble, and that makes for a really perfect environment for people to learn in, because you can't learn when you constantly feel judged, or you constantly feel like you're not doing good enough, and you never give anyone that feeling, group number 2, which is why it is so evident that you are meant to be nurturing and teaching people. Even, for example, school teacher, kindergarten teacher, someone who works in HR, you are that person that people run to when they have problems. An important message for you to hear is that you have this motherly, matriarchal kind of energy. And by the way, group number 2, I hope I'm not confusing you. I was just shuffling this deck. This is a tattoo tarot deck, which we're going to use in just a moment. But I just had some more messages coming through with these 2 cards, and I don't want to miss out on them. So matriarchal type of energy, just like, for example, in a group or a herd of elephants, there's usually the oldest, most experienced female. The wisest one is the one that guides all the other elephants in the family to water holes, guides them through, the different terrains for days and weeks and years on end. And they depend on her for life, because if she makes the wrong decision, the young ones and the other ones in the group won't be able to drink, to survive, to live. So the strongest female and also most experienced one is the one that leads. And I see this matriarch, kind of strong, empowered, very feminine, female, soft energy here. So it may sometimes seem as though it is a contrast, or it contradicts one another. Strong female leader, but also having receptive energy. But actually it's not, because when you're receptive to information, that makes you qualified to lead. All of these toxic masculine individuals who aren't willing to take in information, who aren't willing to have their opinions changed based on proof, evidence, new information, new findings, that is where things get dangerous, because they don't want to update. They don't want to go with the times. However, receptive feminine energy that is willing to take information and then use it for building, for new technology, for the advancement of themselves and all. Now, that is where we're hitting a nerve of actually creating a future that is great for you, but also those around you, a harmonious one. So next we have a card that popped itself onto its, I guess, right side up, we would say. The Four of Wands here shows that an important message for you to hear is to save, build stability. No more excuses, group number 2. And why I'm able to call you out on this is because I need to be honest with you, group number 2. I too have been in complete reform when it comes to this. I am very frugal these days. I am trying to be as smart as I possibly can be. And I recently read this book. It's called Unshakable, and it's by Tony Robbins. And just increasing your financial IQ to set yourself now up for success in the future. That's what we've got here within the Four of Wands. So it's all about creating a foundation, creating a good base for you to thrive in, even when you're old, even when you're middle-aged, or even in the next couple years. And it doesn't have to be anything drastic, even just putting a couple dollars away per week. All of a sudden at the end of the year, that really adds up. But it's important you put it in a savings account, because that way you can't touch it and it's not just going to get like jumbled up with day-to-day things. And once it's there, leave it there, group number 2. Okay, Spirit wants you to remind yourself that while we love being in a spiritual realm and world with one another, we still also have to admit that to a certain extent we live in the real world. And in the real world, finances and money matter. So the sooner you become a master at it, the sooner you become effective at it and you take control over your own finances, the sooner you will really be free and never feel like you're at the mercy of another person, because that is probably the worst position to be in. As much as we want to believe in the good of humanity, let's be real, when you're in a position of powerlessness and at the mercy of other people, it can often just be detrimental. So Spirit and your guides are trying to protect you from that by educating you now. We had wisdom, we had nurturing it, and you are, before we get here into the Seven of Cups, you are being called, yelled at, screamed at to nurture the wisdom about your finances, to nurture the wisdom about what you want to do for yourself, economically speaking. So next we've got the Seven of Cups, as already mentioned, and the Seven of Cups card is a card that shows a lot of choices. In case you didn't know, the Suit of Cups corresponds to the element of water, and here in tarot, the element of water is the element that represents your emotions and your feelings. Now, the Seven of Cups shows us that you've got options when it comes to lovers, when it comes to friends, just in general, who you keep around you, group number 2. And because you've got options, it is important that you build, again, with those people. You choose the best people to keep in and around your life, and then you build on that foundation. But you first need to create a solid foundation. Now that means opening up, especially romantically speaking. An important message you're meant to hear: Spirit and guide want you to just be more open and willing for people to walk away because of this openness. I just see like a door, someone walking through, another person walking through. So you may go through 1 or 2 situationships where you're open about your wants and your needs. They walk through the door, but it's essential that that happens, because number 1, they always come back when you show a willingness to let them go, because that shows them that you know your worth. And when they walk out the door and you don't react the way they expected you to react, which is crying, being sad, asking them to come back, that will get them thinking. And that will also make them insecure, unsure about their choice, and doubtful, because they will think to themselves, this person is so sure of their worth that there is no reaction. I think I made a mistake. But what you'll do, group number 2, is that if it's a romantic relationship, you will not give a second chance, because they should have seen your worth and your value the first time. Think about the future partner of yours. Maybe you have kids with them, maybe a white picket fence, a dog, 5 dogs, 10 cats. Oh, I hope I didn't like knock my mic and like create a really loud unflattering voice. I apologize, group number 2, but let's go back to this depiction of you and your dream partner. That dream partner and your history with them would not involve them rejecting you or walking out the door and then realizing your worth. Your story with your dream partner is one where they realize your worth from the beginning. But sometimes you need to train yourself to have this willingness to let go, because that way the people who are not for you will reveal themselves. The people with whom you cannot build a solid foundation, they will show their true face and their true color, and then you know this is not somebody that I can count on. And you can make the choice to move on with your life and to move on picking people who you know are reliable. And that is an important message for you to hear, that it is never your loss. Ever, group number 2, never feel as though it's your loss if a situationship doesn't work out or someone ghosts you. They are doing you a favor by showing you who they are, what they're willing to deliver, what they're not willing to give you, the breadcrumbs that they're dishing you. Meanwhile, you deserve a whole loaf. You deserve a whole feast, okay? And I'm talking like an Instagram brunch kind of feast. Be happy that they're showing you this, because that just makes it even more evident that it's just not who you're meant to be with. It's just not the kind of crumbing that you deserve, group number 2. So we've got health checkup next. This is an important message for you to hear right now, group number 2. Don't panic, but also we need to talk. We need to talk, group number 2. And I'm sorry to call you out like this, but there's a reason why I am the big sis of the internet, not the little sis, not just the best friend that will condone everything that you do. No, I'm your sister, group number 2. And as your sister, I need to say to you, if you haven't gotten those pap smears, that blood work done, if you haven't gone to the dentist in a year, 2 years, 5 years, ever, group number 2, stop it. Okay, make the appointment, go. Just for your own peace of mind. The health checkup card does not show up to tell you something's wrong or you're sick, or, you know, when you diagnose yourself using Google and you are like, damn, I literally only have 12 hours left according to Google because I am fatally ill just because I have like the sniffles or a little headache or something, right? That is not what this card is about. It is not a Google diagnosis. This card is trying to call you out for the fact that those supplements need to be taken and that blood test needs to be made to make sure that it doesn't turn into something in the future. Okay, a lot of illnesses or a lot of health conditions can already be caught at an early stage so that you can do something that it does not turn into this huge, expensive, and painful experience. That is really the case with a lot of different conditions. You can spare yourself so much time, heartache, and money as well by just going for a health checkup early on, making sure your oral hygiene is in check. I know it seems expensive, especially a lot of you I know don't live, for example, in Switzerland, where you've got a health care and you don't necessarily have to pay for these things. A lot of you live in places where the bills, they run high, they run up, okay? And I get it, but at the same time, remind yourself that the average lifespan or your lifespan is correlated to your oral health. There are studies that have made a connection between how healthy your teeth are and how long you will live. I'm not making this up, group number 2. This is just facts. This is just Spirit brought you this card and I'm spitting the facts. And furthermore, when it comes to things like pap smears, there are a lot of things that you can see early on and can easily treat or easily be aware of, and then you know it's done. And furthermore, sometimes health checkups are for those of you who are hypochondriacs. Okay, you overthink, you are worried, you are anxious, you already have enough stress in your life, group number 2. And I am getting very passionate about this because I want you guys to live your best lives. How can you when you're overthinking your health every second? How can you when you know that you actually don't know the things about your body and your health that you need to know in order to be chill, to feel relaxed, and to feel like everything is fine? Okay, do yourself the favor. Pause the video here. I wanted to say, like, at the end of the video, pause the video here, at least write it down. Just make the little phone call. Make the appointment, group number 2. Get the health checkup. just for peace of mind, because the likeliness of everything just being fine is really high. We had here the Four of Wands and the Seven of Cups. The Four of Wands shows that solid foundation we spoke of. So it's just to have that peace of mind to know, okay, your body is solid, your health is where it needs to be. And then the Seven of Cups, group number 2. The Seven of Cups represents options. So of course, you may see, okay, my vitamin D is slightly on the lower side. So you have the option of supplementing. You have the option of doing something, the option of already caring for the future, but it's not a must. So know that this is a very friendly, kind, loving reminder from Spirit for you to take good care of your health, group number 2, and to get that health checkup. So one thing I keep hearing is just worry about something. Let's see what it is. Group number 2, Jwal Cool, Dharma unfolding. So remember, you're on the right path. Jwal Cool here shows me that a message you need to hear in context to worry that just kept repeating is to take one step at a time and to remind yourself you are on the right path. There is a lot of doubt going on. Here we go. Okay, in the viewfinder it all looks good. There is a lot of doubt going on in your mind, group number 2, and of course having doubt, I think that's part of any healthy individual who has a healthy amount of self-esteem, but you're not narcissistic, right? You're not just thinking everything you touch is the most amazing thing ever on this planet. But there is a lot of worry about your life path. Are you doing the right thing? Are you giving enough? Are you contributing enough? So I definitely want you to know here in Jwal Cool that if you needed a sign, this is your confirmation. If you needed a color as well, some sort of imagery of the type of energy you emit, I want you to know you've got this radiant kind of yellow, vibrant energy around you, like the sun. Of course, it makes sense if you've got Leo placements in your birth chart that you're ruled by the sun. So we, of course, have that yellow, very vibrant and warm energy and halo around you. But I want you to know for all of my non-Leos, this is what you're emitting, okay? And that is why you are meant to be a teacher. You are meant to be someone that shows others the way, because you are so inviting, because you have this energy of, let me show you, let me help you, let me hold your hand and guide you. And I know that especially if you're feeling lost and confused, it can feel like, what is happening? How am I meant to be the leader when I don't even know where I'm going? So things can seem misplaced, or you may sometimes have this imposter syndrome feeling within you, group number 2. But this is your reading, your sign that you're on the right path, and to not question your qualification. You are qualified, okay? Your life's work and the experiences you've been through qualify you to become this leader and this teacher. The educational path that you've chosen qualifies you for the job of your choice, for that career that you desire. Here within Green Tara, I want you to know that you are protected along the way. The Green Tara shows us an air of confidence, an air of serenity, and also this kind of sense of knowing that you're beautiful. The Green Tara is about being protected, cutting cords as well that are just limiting you. So especially if you've had anyone that's commented or always comments on your body, put a stop to it, and if necessary, cut them off. Group number 2, there's no other way to put it. And you're moving beyond limitations you've set out for yourself. Maybe you felt that looking the way that you look, or just coming from the background that you come from, there's only a certain kind of partner or person that you can attract or be with or end up with. But I'm here to tell you that actually the possibilities are limitless. Actually, here, just trust in the fact that a lot of limitations that we feel like we have, we've just kind of like put those limitations on ourselves, as painful as that could be. And a message that you're meant to hear, group number 2, is to move beyond any perceived limitations that you've put on yourself. Your dreams are probably still smaller than what you're actually able to achieve. And Spirit is trying to say to you, trust that you can do it. Trust that you're meant to lead an amazing life. Trust that your love life is meant to be with a partner that is committed to you and a solid future with you. Trust that this is your sign to go out there, to take action. But as we spoke about with all the matriarchal type of energy, the mother elephant energy, if you will, always consider everything you learn along the way and the wisdom that you're gaining, because when you pair that with taking action and leading, really you become unstoppable, group number 2. Don't forget to leave a elephant emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you chose group number 2, that you were here and that you received your reading. Furthermore, I also do have a patron that actually per month will cost you about as much as one large Starbucks drink. On my Patreon, I read for a smaller audience and I'm able to speak freely. Okay, there is nothing that is kind of banned, if you will, whereas on other pages you have to be a little PG-13. So that's what my Patreon is for a smaller audience, more accurate and in-depth, precise readings where I'm able to disclose even more divine information. Feel free to join us on Patreon for multiple tarot readings per month. So my gorgeous souls, I would like to thank you for being here, for spending this divine time and space with me. Know that I'm sending you so much love, and I'll speak to you in my next video. Hello, symbol 3, and welcome to your reading about the message that you urgently need to hear. So we're going to get straight into the prediction. I've got my cards right before me. My viewfinder is over here in case I look over. But what I really want you to do is to just relax into this space and to allow me to channel divine messages into this space that you are meant to receive, so we can figure out exactly what's coming next for you. So let's get into it, group number 3. One thing that I keep hearing is family matters. Family is the focal point. Oh, okay, we've got trust, group number 3. I want you to know here that when it comes to trust, family is important, and often trust with family can be a lot higher than with chosen friends, but not always. So remind yourself of the fact that you have to use your intuition and also base your decisions about who you trust on who has been loyal to you, who has kept their word, who has been honest when you needed honesty from them. And don't discriminate, either choosing blood family over someone who is a very close friend, but also not choosing your chosen family over your blood family because you may have had some sort of rifts, some sort of challenging instances with them. I want to remind you of the fact that also judging yourself, that's such a huge thing when it comes to family, because especially if you've got family members that have done you wrong, it can be hard to judge yourself because you think to yourself, well, they're family. How can I not trust them? How can I not help them? Well, they're family. Why did they hurt you? Why did they disappoint you so much knowingly? I mean, we disappoint people. We hurt people. It happens. That's life. That's being a human. But damn, did you really need to tell on me like that? But damn, did you really need to lie to me about what you were up to, or lie to me about the fact that you told my secret to someone else, or you stole my boyfriend, or you took my money without me knowing? That is another level. And even if you're family, that doesn't mean that you should forgive them more than a stranger. But often we forgive because we trust that family should be closer, when in actuality, sometimes, in certain instances, you are then used, and I can't say the A word, but and then abused a lot more by those closest to you or by people who are blood related, because they use precisely the fact that they've got that joker of being a family and just having a lot more chances, opportunities given to them to mess up again. So know here within trust, you get to decide who you trust, group number 3. Just because someone's family doesn't mean that they can treat you anyhow or that you always have to forgive them. And just because someone is not blood related to you doesn't mean that they maybe wouldn't even give their life for you, okay? There are amazing people out here waiting for you to build a connection, to build trust with them, that you can give your time and your energy to, and know that they're 100% trustworthy. I know it can be very hard if you've ever been cheated on or lied to in a very heavy manner, but rebuilding trust is something that you have to slowly embark the journey on again. We've got tenderness next for you, group number 3, which is extremely fitting. It is time for you to be tender and kind to yourself about your experiences, and maybe even times where you let someone into your life that you knew was a potential threat or would potentially just make your trust issues even worse, group number 3. Tenderness also shows us here that now your body needs just that, tenderness, okay? If you've been working really hard, staying up late, getting up early, not eating healthily, not working out or taking your supplements, tenderness is something that Spirit is calling you out on now. And as you can see here, we've got this shield, we've got the armor. You've got to protect yourself, okay? Protect yourself from threats in the sense of even illness by taking good care of your body. And with tenderness, we also have this warrior that's holding a child. So we don't just have armor, but also holding a child. So knowing when to be tender and who to be tender with and who to also be hard with. And the thing is, like, if you're an empath, you will be tender to people you shouldn't be tender with. And if you're someone who is pretty tough, it may be hard for you to show tenderness, even to children. But again, that's why the tenderness is something that you first give to yourself, to kind of say to yourself, look, it's okay that I'm an empath and I can help myself, but be tender to everyone. Or it's okay that I'm just not really a very sobby person, and even if it's a kid, if it does something dumb, I'm going to tell it does something dumb, because maybe I'm not like the most tender person when it comes to that. And it is okay, group number 3, please don't judge yourself. Please trust that we are all either on one or the other side. None of us are perfect, okay? Either we feel as though we can't open up enough, we're not tender enough, or we're like, darn it, now I opened up again, I was tender again, and look what it got me, a broken heart. Look what it did. It shattered me into a million pieces. So group number 3, we are just trying here, okay? And this channel, these readings, these messages from Spirit, they're here to just remind us we're human and it's okay. These messages are coming towards us to remind us of the fact that we are all figuring things out, and it doesn't matter whether you're on this side of the spectrum or over here. The fact of the matter is, in a way, that connects us all. In a way, we just will always be the same. We will always be humans who are trying to figure things out and who are trying to learn the perfect balance of how to lead a life with as little pain and suffering as possible. Next up, we've got the Emperor reverse. Now, this is from my Dark Heart Tarot deck, which, I mean, you guys have given my Dark Heart, all of my decks actually, only 5-star reviews. You guys, I'm not making this up. You can check everywhere on the internet, on YouTube, on Etsy. My decks are fire, and I'm not even going to downplay it, because I put so much work and effort into my decks, so I'm saying that because I can. So within the Emperor reverse, we are letting go of some control issues that we had, group number 3, and also letting go of just kind of knowing that there are certain things you will never know for sure, okay? You will never know for sure how someone feels about you. To a certain extent, you just need to trust. You need to look at their actions, look at their words, and then draw your own conclusion. The Emperor reverse also shows not to pre-worry. You've been pre-worrying too far into the future, group number 3, and it's time to really stop that, okay? It's time for you to take a step back and to just tackle what's right before you, group number 3. The Emperor reverse also shows that there could be some challenges with figures of authority that are misusing their power, really, or just making it difficult for you to bring ideas into the picture. So group 3, don't be surprised if in the near future, for example, when it comes to your work, you're struggling with some seniors, superiors, or if you're studying even with some teachers that just, they don't know how to take other people's opinions on board. They don't understand that their time where they were the most innovative and smart one, I wanted to say it has come and gone, but probably it never came. It was probably never even there if that's how they think, you know what I mean? Or if that's the kind of vibe that they give off of never wanting to take anyone else's opinion on board, because that's a beautiful thing about being a human, being a student, a teacher, being a boss or an employee. We all learn from each other. We all, in a sense, feed off of each other. One cannot exist without the other. We're all dependent on one another. But here in the Emperor reverse, I can see that some people around you, they've forgotten that. And then they put themselves on a pedestal. They put themselves on this pedestal and they act out. They act in a certain way, and then they also ask themselves why people don't like them. And here within the Emperor reverse, I just see that for you, it's clear as day. You act out, you act like an ass, and of course people are not going to appreciate that. And you do it just because you can, or you're in a position of power, especially when you do that and you're economically in a position of power. It's not fair, it's not right. And I see here in the Emperor reverse that this is just something that you don't need to or want to tolerate, and you're no longer going to do so, group number 3. And this is something to be proud of, because in the past, you did tolerate some things, group number 3. You know, sometimes you can just relate to someone so much, like right now. We don't even need to talk about it. We don't even need to say the kind of stuff that you tolerated just because you wanted to be respectful. Just because you wanted to be loved. You wanted to give the situation a chance. The kind of disrespect that you've taken just to keep the peace, just for the potential of the other person realizing what this could be if they were to just put an ounce of heart into a situation. So I get you, group number 3, and it's very important that you come to a point where you know that enough is enough, you've had enough, and you start to set up boundaries. The Two of Pentacles feeds into this topic of boundaries effortlessly, because the Two of Pentacles is basically the 2 of the element of earth, because the Suit of Pentacles corresponds to the element of earth. This especially draws signs such as Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo into the conversation, because those are the 3 earth signs. And the Two of Pentacles shows balance. Balance between your work, your personal life. Balance between being kind, but also being firm and having boundaries, saying what you will permit and what you will not tolerate. And the Two of Pentacles just shows us here that we've also got this infinity symbol kind of down here, like the 8 on the side. And I want you to know here, group number 3, that what this means is that this is part of the cycle of life, and it will keep showing up, where you're trying to optimize between kindness and also just, oh, I have a little pin sticking out here, between kindness and also just having boundaries and saying, look, I will do this, but not this. Or look, I'm the boss here and I like you, but get your work done. You know what I mean? So group number 3, it will always be a figuring out, a bit of a struggle, a little bit of a, not even a challenge. It's just a part of what's next for you, where you're really going to have to learn how to optimize that, the behaviors, the connections, and that will actually lead to an awakening of the fact that you can be kind, but you can also have limitations that you put on others. You can be kind, but you can also awaken to the fact that you may want to be a person who invokes great change on the planet, but in order for great change to happen, there needs to be some sort of order. To a certain extent, you can only rule, make change if there is order, and that order needs to be enforced. That order needs to be put down, whether it's a pecking order about who is the leader, who is the boss, whether it is just overall figuring out what the end goal is. I mean, someone is going to have to make the decisions and call the shots, and I want you to know here that it is important that you awaken to the fact that if it's not you, it will just be someone else. So as much as you may not want to be like a bossy person or someone who is demanding, there are times like if you are actually the boss at work, if you're running a business and you want it to survive, you have to make decisions, call shots, sometimes even tell people that this is their last chance. They have to reform and work more effectively or do what they're told. That is just for the survival of what you're building. And here within patience, I want you to know, all my gorgeous souls, I just want you to know that when it comes to growing into this version of yourself that knows immediately how to handle what person when you enter a room or a board meeting, it is not something that will happen so super quick, but a message you need to hear is that you are wise beyond your years, and that already gives you like a huge advantage compared to other people your age, group number 3. And because you're also a very patient person, that makes for great leadership qualities, because who can work well or thrive or even live life with a boss or just someone who is so hard on you, who is just like nitpicking every little mistake that you make, or like constantly, did I just make a really loud sound here with the mic? I hope not. Like a boss, a partner, even a family member, a parent that's just breathing down the back of your neck. I mean, group number 3, I think we can all agree on the fact that that is just not the vibe. It doesn't help with anything whatsoever. And honestly speaking, we wouldn't want to be that kind of person. So let's see what else Spirit has to say. We've got the Knight of Cups for you. So the Knight of Cups here shows us a water sign that is still kind of like in their 20s, 30s. Okay, they're still young. They are either a Pisces, Scorpio, or a Cancerian. And the Knight of Cups, man, they're coming for you, group number 3. They are interested in you romantically speaking. They are the type of person who is very patient. They are, just like you, wise beyond their years because they've been through some tough times in their childhood. So from a very early age, they had to awaken to a lot of realities of what it is to be an adult, even though they were a child. So I want you to know here, group number 3, that this is the type of person who has siblings and parents who are not there very often, so they raised their siblings and also helped their parents out financially by working. I want you to know here that they realize that their situation is unfortunate, but also their parents did the best that they could with the knowledge that they had. But this person here in the Knight of Cups has grown so much. You would never know that they came from such a struggle life compared to how they are now. And they are the type of person who wants to build a legacy. They want to do better with their kids, with them moving forward. So I also want you to know that they are very fond of birds. This is an individual that may even own a bird, and don't be surprised if you get some sort of necklace that has a bird on it, okay, from this person very early on in the connection. Or they actually take you to a place like a restaurant or a bar where people frequently go to look at specific birds that are like nesting or live there. I know it sounds really oddly specific, but I hope you can appreciate that, group number 3. So Spirit, please guide us a little further into this reading for group 3. So next up, we have the 5 of Wands reverse. Now, the 5 of Wands reversed here shows that challenges and struggles and blocks will be removed for you. This is an important message for you to hear if you have been at the breaking point. If you feel like life has just been piling on so many different tasks and challenges and difficulties and to-do lists, and there's stuff that has to be tended to, group number 3. Know here within the 5 of Wands reverse that the end is nearing of everything that has you feeling overworked, and vacation time is coming sooner than you expected. I also want you to know here in the 5 of Wands reverse that the number 5 can be a number that shows competition that is ending. So you will know whether you're moving past some people you were in competition with. Maybe you were in competition for a job, for a professional or educational accomplishment, and the 5 of Wands shows a result that's being shown. And the 5 of Wands reverse, shows a result that's in the end going to be revealed, so you can move on with your life finally. You won't be in limbo anymore. But the reveal is slightly delayed. Not much, but just a little bit. Next up, we've got the Death card for you. Now, group number 3, I would just like you to understand the Death card is not a card to be afraid of, especially in connectivity to the 5 of Wands. It shows big delays to somebody who is struggling to actually keep themselves alive. So if there's someone that you know, it could be a family member or even like a friend's parent or family member, and they are ill, they are really not doing well health-wise, and like to the point where you could actually say like terminally ill or just struggling to maintain a good quality of life, right? I'm sorry, I knocked my mic. There are various degrees when it comes to health, but know here that actually what we thought would be like fatal or a really bad accident, it will be delayed in the sense of they have another chance to rebuild their strength, their health, to regain vitality. And a Death card in connectivity to the 5 of Wands actually shows a new beginning in the sense of a fresh start. Because with every death of a cycle comes a new cycle, comes a new opportunity. And the 5 of Wands reversed does show delays. The Death card shows a renewed cycle. So know that they will be spared of any very lasting or permanent health changes or even death. Okay, so someone close to you, if you're a very big animal lover, this is a pet that is close to you, a pet that you love, and you thought, okay, this may be the end. They may be coming to a point where their lifespan has now, how do I say this? You know what I mean, group number 3. But in the end, it's not going to be like that. They're going to pull through, they're going to get healthy again, and they're going to have more time and more life to live. So this is a very meaningful combination, group number 3. This is a very, I would say, hopeful sign, right? I would say that's a good way to describe it, about a message that you needed to hear, that needed to show up in order to give you peace of mind and just also calm your nerves and anxiety levels. Now, group number 3, this is the reading that I've received for you, and I truly hope you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Please do leave a little purple heart emoji below in the comment section to let me and others know that you were here and that you received your reading and made it all the way to the end. Furthermore, if you're looking for some undisclosed information in readings, where I conduct readings for a smaller audience, you can ask more questions, it's more precise, and I can get into some details that YouTube won't allow me to speak of. Check out my Patreon, it's linked in the description box, and I upload new content there multiple times a month, and yeah, join the fam if you're interested. Oh, And lastly, I always forget to say this. I should say this at the start of my videos, but you guys, I get so carried away with reading. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe to never miss another prediction. So group 3, thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming readings.